So a shout out and a big thanks to Mark Boyd from the Drone Safe Register for sending me the DJI Mini 2 for review. So I've been flying drones since about 2013, 2014 when I bought my first toy drone from Amazon. It was a way for me to get used to the controls, get used to flying something that I've never flown before. Soon got used to it, soon enjoyed it. It was a fully manual little drone. It had a camera on it, but it wasn't particularly good. But it taught me enough to know that I wanted to do this as part of my photography business. So I got qualified in 2015. I bought the Phantom 2 with a GoPro 3, I think it was at the time, attached to it. A monitor that really wasn't very good. But again, it was enough to get me off the ground, literally. The next one I got was a DJI Inspire 1. It's now got a X5 RAW camera on it, which is amazing. I still fly that drone. It's been going nearly 6 years. It's solid, it's reliable, it does everything I need. So at the moment, I'm sticking with that. So when the Mini 2 came out, I thought, well, this is tiny. It's relatively cheap. So the Fly More combo is about £550. It's very small. It's got a tiny camera, tiny sensor. It weighs barely anything at 249 grams. So what's the benefits of having one? What are the downsides? What's it good at? What's it not good at? So when Mark from Drone Safe sent this to me, first thing I did was took it out in some high winds and I took it for a flight. Now the main thing that I wanted to know was the image quality from something this small. So it weighs barely anything. Like I said, it's 249 grams with the battery in. So it's barely anything. When you pick it up, you think it's just not going to do very well. How can something like that combat wind? How can it fly well? How can the image quality be so good from such a small camera? So really, I wasn't expecting much from this at all. But when I saw the footage from it, when I saw the stills from raw photography, raw photos, and frame grabs from the 4K footage, I was gobsmacked. It was actually really, really good. There are a couple of downsides, but let's quickly run you through the drone. When you get it out of the package, it comes like this. Okay, it's got a cover for the camera. It's got a cover that holds, it's like a strap that holds all of the rotors in place in the arms and everything. So to take that off, you just literally unclip it and it's done. Really handy bit of kit. Once you've done that, then obviously the props are loose, and you then open the top ones like this, and then the bottom ones flip out, and that is it. You're pretty much ready to go. So compared to my Inspire 1, this takes about a fraction of the time to actually get set up. The only other thing you've got to do is take the front case off. So for me, this was feels a bit cheap when it comes off and goes back on. I thought it was going to break because it is quite kind of flimsy, if you like, but it's kept going all the time. So it's actually not bad at all. but it's definitely worth keeping on, obviously to protect the gimbal and the camera. So this is it. It's tiny. The rotors are really good. They're actually quite flimsy-ish material, so I was a bit concerned if they hit the ground or anything they might kind of get damaged, but they're pretty robust. They're pretty good. So let's talk through the drone. That's it. You've got the battery in the back, which goes in really simply. It's very easy to put in, and without the battery it weighs barely anything. So just put the battery in the back, close it down, and on the outside here you've got two parts here. You've got the USB-C, which can be used to charge the battery while it's in and obviously do any firmware upgrades. Then you've got the micro SD card there, so it'll take any kind of size. I'd recommend getting a fairly good card just so that it can cope with the 4K video. Then on the front you've got the camera with the 2-axis gimbal. I know it goes left to right, but you can't control that with the controller. But what it means having that ability to go slightly left and right is when you turn the drone, it will actually slowly turn the camera to correct, so you don't get jagged movements when you're filming. So you'll turn it and it will slowly then correct with the camera on the front. It looks really good, really kind of smooth movements. Obviously you can do the go up and down, pitch and yaw or whatever it is, up and down with the lens. But like I said, you can't go left and right. So it's not good. That's one of the downsides with this, is that you're fairly limited with the axis on the gimbal. But if you know how to fly, if you know what you're doing, you can get some cracking footage from this. But it's really good, incredibly stable. My first flight I took out in, I think it was about 25-mile-an-hour winds with something like 30-mile-an-hour gusts, and the footage from it was incredible. I couldn't believe how stable it was. It's almost better than the Inspire, which is a lot heavier, obviously. And I thought something this light would no way stand up into wind, but it really held its own. It just stood there solid as a rock, and the footage was incredible. So I'm really, really impressed with that. On the bottom down here, you've got some sensors. You've got the on-off button, battery level, and you've got two sensors. Now, the only obstacle avoidance this has are on the bottom there. Now, what I found quite useful about that was, if you're descending pretty quickly, it will stop at about 1 meter and you keep pulling down and then it will slowly land. So it prevents you from actually slamming it into the ground when landing. I thought that was really good. It just means you can zoom it down, it will stop automatically for a few seconds and then slowly land on the ground. Really, really good. One other thing to look out for, you've got the front legs on the you've got the legs on the front rotors here, but there's none on the back. So when it's actually on the ground, the rotors are fairly close to the ground here at the back. So if you're taking off from grass or anything where there's anything obstacles in the way, obviously it's going to hit those. So just be aware that you can either hand launch it or you need a very flat surface. So always have something like a biscuit tin lid or something around that you can take off from. It's so light. I mean, it fits in your pocket, so you can literally walk up to anywhere, put it on the ground, fire it up, fire the app up, and you're ready to go. So for me, it's really, really impressive. It's so small. It's really easy to put away again because you just fold these back under, fold these in, and then you just put the strap back over the top and it's ready to go back in your pocket or in your bag or in your camera bag. It's brilliant. So for me, rather than take my Inspire everywhere, a huge bulk of a thing, I can just take this on holiday. I can take it whenever I go out with my camera. There may be something I want to shoot really quickly. Absolutely perfect for that. So that's the drone. Let's talk about the controller quickly. I didn't realise this at first because they do come with spare toggles on the top, spare levers. So I'd been using the spare ones all the time, but what I didn't realise is underneath here, there's actually a holder for them. So all you do is take these out and just screw them into the controller there. It's brilliant, really, really ingenious. So you just put those in. You're never going to lose them because they stick in there quite well. They hold in well, and then you've got your controls ready to go. Absolutely brilliant. They've got good grips on the top and good grips on the side, depending on how you like to fly. I've always flown like this. It's just how I do it. A lot of people, obviously, for more stable flying, will actually hold it like that, but it doesn't matter. But they're really, really good, very responsive. So on the front here, you've got your pause video or whatever. You've also got the return to home. You've got Cine, normal and sport. Sport is actually quite fast. I was quite impressed. So when I went into that mode, it actually flies pretty quickly, and you can see the specs on screen at the moment. So that's good if you're chasing something, if you're chasing a boat or a jet ski or a car or something. It's actually pretty quick, so that's good. Normal is, as you'd think, it's just the normal kind of speed for a drone this size. And then Cine, it will slow it down. It will slow down the movement so you get nicer footage, cleaner, smooth lines and everything like that. Battery level on the front for the controller, which you can see there, about half full at the moment. So you've got the on-off button there. You've You've got a camera shoot button there, so you can actually take photos and start video with that, and then you've got a function button there. These don't do anything, they're just to keep your fingers in place. And then underneath that you've got the camera there. So this one I think changes from video to photography, stills photography, and then this one will actually activate the camera. So you can take stills with that, or you can start video and stop video. Then here you've got the, you can actually, that's where you move the lens up and down, the camera up and down. So as you're flying, you can just slowly do that. It's the same as most controllers, so that's really good. I won't go too much into that. What I liked was the actual camera holder here. So you literally just pull it out and it will fit most big cameras. Most big smartphones. I've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 and it fits in there pretty well. Once it's in, it's incredibly stable. It stays in really well. And then inside here, I think you can see that you've got the cable. So you get 3 cables with this, one for an iPhone, one micro USB, and then one USB-C. So when you want to set up your camera, set up your phone, sorry, you just take one side of the USB-C out and you put it into your phone like that. And then you just stick this on there and you're ready to go. It's that simple. So what I loved about that was the fact that you actually, get that out again, you actually store this in the controller itself, so you're not going to lose it. It's not going to fall out of your bag or anything. Put it in there, close it back up, and it's there. And then when you finish with these at the end of the flight, they just stick straight back underneath there. And it's ready to go in your bag again. Absolutely brilliant. One last thing, you've got a speaker on the bottom for your alerts and things like that from the app. So it's pretty loud, you can hear it really well, and obviously you've got it from your phone as well. So that's it. It's a very kind of good unit. I know it's a bit bigger than the DJI Mini 1, but I like it. It's good for the hands, it feels good, it's solid, it's pretty heavy, so it just feels kind of quality. So that, the drone is actually smaller than the controller, which is bonkers, but it's just a really good kit. Look at that, that's it. That's what you need to take out with you, and also your battery pack if you take those. But it's so compact, so neat, so easy to set up and start flying straight away. I absolutely love it. Now, with the combo kit, you actually get these batteries. You get 2 extra batteries, and obviously the third one goes in there as well. You can charge it via USB there. It's got an out as well, which I presume is for maybe some firmware upgrades or whatever. And then you can check the battery levels for each battery by hitting that button. But they charge pretty quick, and each battery will fly for about 31 minutes. It's crazy. My Inspire, I think, flies for maximum 14-15 minutes if I bring it down to about 20% battery level. And also the wind obviously affects it a lot. But I actually found myself getting bored in the sky. It was going for so long. You know, you're looking at 31 minutes for a good flight in normal conditions, and it's just brilliant. So you can actually land it and take off multiple times and not deplete the batteries. So really impressed with the whole kit. So let me just quickly say what I would use this for as a professional drone operator. Like I said, I've got the Inspire one that shoots RAW. So I've done TV and film work where I use the RAW camera. I do lots of other things with it. I've done many jobs with that drone, and I still will do. Now, the reason I will 100% get one of these is kind of twofold. One, there's been situations where I've not been able to fly because of the size of the drone, because of where it is. It's restricted on where you can fly, that kind of stuff. And it's just a pain to actually take off and fly anywhere. So with this, I can literally take it out of my pocket, chuck it on the ground, fly it through pretty much anything, and not really worry about it, because even if it hit the ground, it's probably going to survive. You might lose one of the props or something, but you do get spares. But as something just to put up in more adverse conditions, it's pretty good. Now, it will fly through windows, it'll do any kind of thing. So it's a really handy drone to have. Now, for a lot of people, where this is going to win is it weighs under 250 grams, which means you don't need to register it, and you can actually take off from pretty much anywhere. As of December the 31st, 2020, after that date, you can actually use this to take off anywhere you like. There's no restrictions because it is classed pretty much as a toy. So that's another massive reason for this. It alleviates all the paperwork, all the need to do all the kind of general stuff you'd have to do with a bigger drone. So for me, it's much, it's such a kind of advantage to have something like this in my bag, as well as the Inspire, because I can then take it anywhere at the drop of a hat, take it out and actually grab a sunset, grab a sunrise, something that's going on I can just be up in the air within sort of 3 or 4 minutes. So it's really good. And the app works incredibly well with it. So I've been really impressed. So have a look at the full review, have a look at the images that I've taken, and have another look at the footage, because I was really impressed. The 4K footage from a sensor this small, I was really impressed with, and I was hard put to actually find any differences between that and the X5 MP4 footage from the Inspire. So really, really impressed. The raw stuff is good. And just very quickly before I finish, one of the areas I'll be using this for 100% is for roof surveys. I can throw it in the air really quickly. It's not going to damage any property if it lands on it, not really. It's so light, it's just going to bounce off the roof. But you can fly it in compact areas. Like I said, you don't need the licenses. You can actually just take off. And the footage where you can pull stills from the 4K footage and the raw images, I've found will be easily good enough to do roof surveys. So for me, that's an absolute winner. 100% recommend. Like I said, the only downside I can think of, apart from things like it hasn't got obstacle avoidance all around, but just learn how to fly the bloody thing and you'll be fine. The only thing is you can't control the camera left to right, so you have to do some kind of nifty bits of flying. Generally though, absolutely brilliant, 100% recommend it, and thanks once again to Mark from Drone Safe for sending it through. You're not getting it back.